Good evening and thank you for joining us. The Thunder Bay Airport Authority has reached a new collective agreement with the Public Service Alliance of Canada representing its staff. President and CEO of the airport, Ed Schmidtke, says the contract was reached without a third-party mediation and offers their employees stability for a 5-year period. The contract will be in effect until the end of 2023. With the 129th Canadian Lakehead exhibition in full swing, families are visiting the fair to have some fun. And today, they shared with us some of their favorites about the carnival. Alana Pickrell has the details.
It was clear skies and sunshine for the fourth day of the annual CLE Family Fair. The grounds were filled with smiling faces as soon as the gates opened up, with everyone taking advantage of the activities, food, and rides that the event has to offer. There was a wide variety of rides, making it easy to find one that everyone could enjoy and making it possible for kids to try all 39 Midway rides and then pick their favorite.
My favorite ride would be the rock and roll because it's like the zipper and the Ferris wheel.
I like the ride. The dragon wheel. Same as him.
How come that one's your favorite?
Well, because it goes like so fast.
At the CLE, my favorite ride's probably the Space Invaders.
Tucked away from the flashy lights and loud music, kids got the chance to walk through the petting zoo and hand feed several friendly animals. There was a creature for everyone inside the petting zoo barn, and many children got to see their favorite animal up close and personal.
My favorite animal are the little hamsters.
How come?
Because they're so tiny and I think they're little twins. Turtle.
How come?
Because I love turtles. Donkey.
How come?
Because they're tall and they look cute.
When it comes to food, there are definitely no shortage of choices. From pizza to corn dogs and, of course, several sugar-based options like the beloved candy apples. As local kids told us this year, they can always find their favorite food at the CLE.
My favorite fair food is pizza.
But you can get pizza all the time. You like it better at the CLE?
Yep. Epic cones, ice cream, and hot dogs. Cotton candy. I like cotton candy. Popcorn.
Cotton candy.
How come?
Because I really like popcorn.
It's a staple of carnival food.
After 5 days of fair fun in the city, the 129th annual CLE wraps up tomorrow with fireworks hitting the sky at 11 p.m. Alana Pickrell, TVT News.
Local beer lovers have another reason to enjoy the summer weather in the city's north side. The ever-popular Bruja Festival has returned to Marina Park, and residents have been flocking to the event grounds for a craft beer experience like no other. Tyler Kelleher reports.
Whether paired with food or enjoyed on their own, Thunder Bay's Bruja offers over 100 different craft beers, spirits, and mixed drinks for the connoisseur that lives in all of us.
I did have a guy here with a Labatt Crystal tattoo who was holding the sample glass up to the sun and then sniffing it and taking his sip and talking about the bouquet, and I loved it.
Okay, so most of us haven't expanded our palate to that of a brewmaster, but that's what the Bruja is all about. A 2-day craft festival offering hundreds of products from lagers to ales for every kind of enthusiast or occasional partaker. A weekend activity that some would say
it's like our national pastime. It's hockey and beer. Just goes perfect with our summers up here, our lakes like you see behind us here. It's just it's a good time.
Oh, it's unreal. You got music, you got people, you got games. It's a fun time.
What's great about this festival is it's craft, so it's local, and I think that's why it really does well in Thunder Bay. Thunder Bay loves Thunder Bay, if you've ever met the Thunder Bayer. So when you have a festival that really celebrates artisan craft, locally sourced, and celebrating all that is Thunder Bay, people come out.
And the fun doesn't end at Marina Park. Each of the festival's 3 sessions offer a 4-hour tasting before participants can take their entry wristbands to a number of local pubs in the waterfront district and enjoy any of the several Bruja after parties around the city.
We partnered with about 20 different establishments in the Uptown, and you get discounts on entry, different food specials, beer specials, all this good stuff with your wristband.
The festival's final tasting session concludes tonight at 9 o'clock. Tyler Kelleher, TBT News.
A program started in Thunder Bay last year is now spreading to other parts of the region. Blessing Boxes, which aims to provide food and other supplies to the less fortunate, are starting to pop up in Fort Frances, and they could soon be in Kenora and Sioux Lookout as well. Residents in Fort Frances might start noticing these little houses popping up on properties around the community. These Blessing Boxes house food and other supplies for the less fortunate. Blessing Boxes are the brainchild of Ashley Burton from Giant Hearts, who started the Blessing Box program in Thunder Bay. She says she posted on social media about bringing the boxes to Fort Frances and has been overwhelmed by the response.
I didn't expect it to take off like this and so fast, and the community wants it, the community needs it, and so we came down to help.
Surprisingly, there are several barriers that prevent access to food banks or other food-based social assistance programs, which Burton says Blessing Boxes eliminate by being both anonymous and accessible 24/7.
Some people may deal with anxiety, not want to, or may not have ID, may not be able to go to a food bank. They might just need something in between checks or in a pinch, and they can just find one in their neighborhood and take what they need.
Garrett Rivelin's wife responded to Burton's post, offering up their front lawn to host a box, and he even offered up his skills to construct 3 of them. He says it doesn't take long to build them, but there are a few complications.
I work a week and a week at a remote mine site, so I get 5 days home, and I don't have a garage, so I have to rely on good weather. But if everything runs smoothly, I can put one together within 3 days.
Rivelin adds he's happy to build the boxes and see them help vulnerable members of the community, including the homeless. Kathy Foy works with the United Native Friendship Center in Fort Frances. She says homelessness isn't just a big city issue.
There are a lot of people that could be considered, homeless. There's people that are couch surfing. There's people that don't, have a natural residence or are sleeping in tents in the summer and they're freezing in the winter. So there is a huge homeless population here. There's great organizations, so we're one of many that are, trying to come in and do whatever we can.
A long-term goal for the Blessing Boxes is to get them into other communities in the region, including Sioux Lookout, Kenora, and Dryden. An author who made her writing debut in Thunder Bay was back in town today, featuring her newest novel, Every Little Piece of Me. Amy Jones held a book signing at Chapters, the same one she used to work at when she lived in the city. Her book features 2 young women who grew up in celebrity culture and eventually crossed paths and help each other through hard times. This is the second novel that Jones has published, following her book We're All in This Together, which is based in Thunder Bay. Jones says now that she lives in Toronto, she really misses Thunder Bay and thought it was important to come back and see the community that was so supportive of her first novel. She says she hopes her second will draw in the same level of enthusiasm.
Yeah, I'm hoping that, people, came to the first book because it was set in Thunder Bay and then maybe just enjoy the writing, so they'll move on and read the next book, for that aspect of it. There is a chapter in the new book that is set in Thunder Bay as well. I couldn't quite leave it out. So, for those people who like that aspect of the first book, there is a little bit in the new one as well.
Jones says her third book is already in the works. A study out of the Montreal Neurological Institute is showing how technology enhanced with artificial intelligence can help surgeons practice their craft. And as Cindy Sherwin reports, it could be a valuable tool for young brain surgeons.
Is there a tumor? This is the tumor?
That's the tumor right there.
Where?
It's got the yellow color.
It's not brain surgery, but this simulator is as close as it gets to the real thing.
There's a whole aspect of ergonomics in the operating room.
At this learning center at the Montreal Neuro, researchers are studying the effectiveness of using virtual reality simulators enhanced with artificial intelligence to train and assess the skills of budding surgeons.
We actually took tumors out and measured their density and then put all that information into the simulator. And then we took color, we took that into the simulator. The way the blood vessels bleed, we put that into the simulator.
So this virtually constructed brain pulsates like a real brain. The tumors feel like real tumors.
So you can see how that in one way almost gets the brain thinking, the human brain thinking that I'm really operating.
It generally takes 6 years to train to be a neurosurgeon. Students always have a teaching physician by their side, but it's still high stakes on-the-job training.
An individual who has never been involved in doing an operation on the brain before suddenly is faced with doing an operation on the brain.
And the difficulty with that to begin with is how do you expose a trainee to a situation where they would be operating in a real environment in a time when you're very close to a critical structure and therefore the consequences to the patients are very severe.
The goal then is to try to use technology to help limit errors. The researchers studied 50 participants with different levels of medical training. They each performed 5 complex tumor resections using the simulator. It tracked their movements and ranked their level of expertise.
So this algorithm was able to categorize people 90% of the time using only 6 different operative factors, which involve movements and using both hands and forces of each instrument.
Our experiments have shown in virtual reality that really there are really 2 things that are critical. The first thing that's critical is expert neurosurgeons are safe. The second thing that seems to be a focus is efficiency.
Dr. Del Maestro kindly assessed my surgical skills after a 10-minute lesson.
You've only removed about 7% of the tumor.
Well, my diagnosis is that this guy needs to see a real surgeon.
The hope is that one day real neurosurgical students will cement their skills using the virtual reality simulator before their first real operation. Cindy Sherwin, CTV News.
Ben, today's match gets us one step closer to the Rogers Cup final tomorrow.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. These semifinals went down, and it was 19-year-old Bianca Andreescu from Mississauga putting on a show. We'll have plenty more with sports